His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto and His Excellency Emmanuel Macron. Why don't we give them a clap as they come in, like we like to do? Welcome, Your Excellencies, kindly on stage. Welcome, Your Excellencies. We shall request that as we face the podium, we shall start with the anthems. We shall start with the France national anthem, followed by the Kenyan anthem. The anthems. Take our seats. Your Excellencies, for a moment there with the national anthems, it sounded like we were in a concert, hence the claps. Your Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of Kenya, Your Excellency President Emmanuel Macron. This morning, allow me to start off the program with inviting Professor Patrick to do a very brief welcome to the university before we start our panel discussions. Professor Patrick, kindly if you can come and just do the quick welcoming remarks. Let's welcome him with a clap, please. Professor, welcome.
Youthquake. For the young people in the audience, three things. One, did you know every single month across Africa, 1 million young people like yourself come to the labor market? Youthquake. Number two, did you know that only 1 of 4 of those 1 million people coming to the labor market finds a formal job? Youthquake. Number 3, did you know there are 2 global leaders this morning inaugurated the first ever science and engineering complex, combining you with industry, with research, to create what? 3 things. Jobs, jobs, jobs. And it is these 2 leaders, President Ruto, you're one of us from the University of Nairobi. Thank you so much for your leadership in driving this agenda. And it is you, President Emmanuel Macron, may I say boldly, the strongest friend of Africa. Why? By putting your money where your mouth is and delivering this science complex. Thank you so much of coming to the University of Nairobi. This initiative, finally, is not just for Nairobi. It's not even just for Kenya. It's the prototype for Africa. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you so much.
What a great way to start. Another round of applause for Professor Patrick. Your Excellencies, at this point, allow me to now hand over this particular session to Mariam Bishar. Mariam is a media personality and journalist who connects with Kenya's young audience and has experience moderating. A clap for her, please, as she comes now to take over the session. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. It is my honor to welcome you, Rais William Samoei Ruto, His Excellency Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, and President de la République Française, Emmanuel Macron. It is my honor to welcome all of you to the Africa Forward Summit 2026, being held for the very first time in a non-Francophone country. Please give yourselves a round of applause. This is an immersive gathering of 30 plus heads of state, 1,500 plus business leaders from across the globe. But most importantly, it is also a gathering of the people that make up more than 70% of this magnifique continent we call home, young people. So over the next few days, we are going to learn, interact, network, to basically get a feel of the African continent and how it relates to France, how it relates to the world, how it relates to the West. We are breaking barriers. I hear people say that the world is no longer facing east or west, it is facing south. And I think it's time that we take our place and we act as such, right? Yes. The theme this year is Future Makers. And I like the idea of future makers. I also like to think that the future is quite possibly in the present. How many people have been told you are the leaders of the future? Ever? Show of hands. Yeah. Has the future come? Yes? Yes? The future is here, right? I think the future is now, and we are future makers. It is our work to make sure that this continent and that the world interact as one. So over the next few days, I'm hoping you make a friend, you make a business partner, you network with people, you perhaps even find someone to write letters to. I don't know, if we can go back to the olden days. But it is my sincere hope that you have a good time at this summit, and we will have incredibly great conversations over the next hour, especially with President Ruto and President Macron. We'll be discussing AI and innovation, and we'll get to hear from President Ruto, his insights, his expertise, his thoughts on how we can basically use AI for innovation and to make sure that we are not just, like I said, the cog in the wheel that's making AI run in the world, but not gaining anything from it. And from President Macron, he'll be on a panel discussing how we can make sure that African voices are platformed on global stages. Just before the presidents came in, I spoke of the danger of a single story, and a lot of you agreed. You've heard or seen the lecture by Chimamanda Adichie. That means that we cannot be the people who are being written about without owning the narratives. And that even as we have partners across the world, that they are part of our story, that we are collaborating as one. Am I right? Yes. All right. We'll get... a journalist, a TV presenter. She's also a comms expert, and she will be walking us through. She will be walking us through this panel on AI and innovation. Welcome, Sophia.
Good morning, Excellencies, distinguished guests, innovators, founders, and especially the young people shaping the future of Africa. Are there some young people in the room today? Are there some young leaders in the room today? Our time, this is our discussion. My name is Sophia Ida, international host, entrepreneur and founder of Chic Network, which is a platform dedicated to amplifying African and diaspora voices, creativity, and innovation. So it's truly my honor to lead this conversation, talking about a subject that is deeply, deeply important for the future of our continent and the next generations. We're gathered here at a defining moment in history. By 2050, 1 person out of every 4 on Earth will be African. So the question is no longer whether Africa will participate in this technological revolution. The real question is, will Africa help build it? Artificial intelligence is expected to contribute trillions to the global economy in the next decades. While Africa's digital economy will reach nearly 700 billions by 2050. But beyond the numbers, this conversation is about something a lot more human, deeply human. It's about jobs. It's about opportunities, dignity, and sovereignty. Because for the first time in history, with just the help of a laptop, a young person in Nairobi, in Abidjan, in Johannesburg, in Douala, can train AI models in local languages, create solutions for Africa, by Africans with African technologies, can create solutions globally as well from here. This is a first, and we must pay attention to this revolution. So it's safe to say that the future of innovation is not only taking place in Silicon Valley. The future of innovation is taking place right here in Africa, in African cities, African universities, African startups, and by African youth. But this future will require courage. Courage to invest in infrastructure. Courage to trust the young entrepreneurs. Courage for us to no longer consume technology, but becoming builders, owners, and architects of it. And today we're joined by two leaders already helping shape that future. Our first speaker is one of the leading African voices in artificial intelligence today. She's not only building technology, she's helping redefine who shapes the future of AI. Through Amini, she's building sovereign AI infrastructure for Africa and the global South, enabling countries to create value from their own data, talent, and innovation. From Ndivya to Intel to ARM, her career has been dedicated to expanding access to frontier technologies and now to position Africa at the center of AI conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage the founder and CEO of Amini, Ms. Kate Kalot. We can keep clapping for her until she takes a seat, please. Thank you so much. Our second speaker represents a new generation of builders connecting Africa through technology and entrepreneurship. As co-founder of Julaya and president of French Tech Abidjan, he's helping build the financial infrastructure powering African businesses across borders. Based in Abidjan and active across West Africa, he believes that Africa's next generation of jobs and economic champions will come from Africans building solutions for African realities. Please put your hands together for Mathias Leopoldi, co-founder of Julaya, president of French Tech Abidjan, and apparently he's a young leader de la French African Foundation. Make some noise for him. All right. Now my first question is for you, Kate. As one of Time's 100 most influential people in AI, what gives you optimism about Africa's positioning in this digital transformation that we're talking about, and what must we do now to become builders of AI instead of consumers of it?
Thank you for the question, which I think it's probably the most consequential question Africa is facing today in the age of AI. Builders or consumers? But for me, this question is deeply personal, because I am African. My parents are from the Central African Republic, but I am also French. I was born and raised in Paris. And I spent the past 15 years rising to the top of the big US corporations in AI. But I saw something that was missing. I saw the missing infrastructure for our own builders. So 4 years ago, I decided to come home. And since then, home has been Nairobi. And I'm not alone. There are generations of builders from Microsoft, from Google, from the world's top universities, including Polytechnique, who are coming back to the continent. We are not coming back because we failed there. We're coming back because we saw what was missing here, and we want to fix it. So us, alongside the homegrown builders, the millions of local innovators, we are the new face of Africa. We are young, we're connected, and we are deeply rooted. And we want to change the story of our continent.
I often get asked why I left NVIDIA at the top of the AI revolution. And for me, the answer is in the statistics. Africa holds 19% of the world's population, but less than 1% of the global compute capacity. What the stat really means is that builders across many African countries, across Kampala, across Nairobi, across Bangui, are stuck at the bottom of the AI value chain. They are paid to label data and not empowered to build, forced to use and consume systems that were not designed or built by them or for them. But on the flip side, I see an opportunity to rewrite the future for ourselves. And that's why I decided to move to Kenya and found Amini 4 years ago. We transform local data into intelligence that the continent can act upon. We deploy local infrastructure that our governments can own, build, and operate locally. And today, we are very proud to announce a partnership with Foxconn and Bull to close the sovereign compute gap in Africa. We will deploy compute that is modular, that is energy efficient, and that is affordable, so that finally we can own and operate our own infrastructure. So a small company that was born out of Nairobi is now solving problems at a global scale. We've now expanded into Bridgetown, into Rio, into Manila, across the global south, because the opportunity is planetary. So you asked me what I am optimistic about. And I think I'm optimistic about our people, the generations who are coming back, who have not just studied the AI revolution, but have built it, have been inside the systems which are reshaping the world today. And the generations which have never left. I've been here, and for the past couple of years, I've learned how to master those systems. And those two give me optimism. France and Africa have something that neither of them can build alone or replicate alone. Deep talent, a tradition for strategic autonomy, and the refusal to accept that the future only belongs to those who already hold it. And for me, I hope that this is the new generation of the France-Africa relationship. I want to refuse that our builders, our future makers, have to choose between living to build or staying to build. Building from home has to be the best option for us. Imagine coupling French scientific excellence with African ingenuity. Builders in Nairobi, in Paris, building on the same infrastructure. This is us writing our own AI economy, not negotiating to be part of someone else. So Your Excellencies, as today, the decisions that you will make today and how we collaborate in the next 10 years will define what sovereignty means for centuries. Thank you. Merci. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you so much. The next question is for you, Matthias. Nowadays, an Ivorian SME paying Kenyan suppliers still routes through London or New York and pays 2 or 3 times more for the privilege. You're building the layer that changes that, right? What would it mean in real jobs, in real businesses, if that infrastructure existed at scale within 5 years?
Thanks, Sophie. Your Excellency, President William Ruto, Monsieur le Président de la République Emmanuel Macron, and distinguished and honored guests without protocol. Like Kate, I'm a French entrepreneur. I have been working in West Africa for the past 10 years, based between Abidjan, Dakar, Cotonou, Lomé, and I founded an online bank to try to tackle this issue called Julaya. We often hear Africa is lagging, Africa needs to catch up, like all these narratives, but there are industries where Africa is actually leading, and is actually a leader in the world. And one of those industries I want to talk about today is called mobile money, and was born here in Kenya around 25 years ago. Today, mobile money empowers 1.2 billion people in Africa out of 1.6 billion people to access financial inclusion, send money, pay bills, etc. But there's a but. This revolution is not fully complete. Today, as you said, if you're a Kenyan SME, for example, you want to pay a Senegalese supplier, it takes a correspondent bank and the dollar to do it. It is not a problem of will, it is not a problem of talent, it is a problem of critical infrastructure. And this is being solved. There is a new institution called PAPS, Pan-African Payment Settlement System, which is sponsored by President Ruto, and which envisions to allow the 42 African currencies to transact with each other without going through the dollars, etc. What we envision today as youth is to be part of this revolution. And all the young leaders in this panel and in the room, we want to be part of the economic growth that will involve and that will follow this revolution. So I want to say, like, with the backing of the right banks like Proparco, BPI France, the African Development Bank, and also with the backing of the right support organization, ecosystem organization, we can make this revolution happen. And I am one of those examples. I've benefited from this funding, I've benefited from the support, and I want to tell, and with the approval from the presidents, that this is what awaits the youth today, and this is what we need to seize today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matthias. Now, Excellency Mr. President Ruto, Africa's greatest resource is not buried underground. As you can see, is the talent, is the creativity and the ambition of young people. We've spoken today about artificial intelligence, digital infrastructure, entrepreneurship, and financial innovation. But for millions of young Africans listening, the question is ultimately very simple. Will this technological revolution create opportunities they can actually access? So my final question to you is, what must African governments do differently, starting now, to ensure that the next generation of African innovators, engineers, creators, and entrepreneurs are able to fulfill their full potential, allowing them to build globally competitive companies and careers right here in Africa?
Thank you very much. And congratulations, Kate, and my good friend Matthias. Listening to you is, breath of fresh air. I mean, I could relate with everything that you said. But let me say this. For us to be able to be future ready, and I'm happy to know this morning, I am among the people who have been saying I'm neither facing west or east, I'm facing forward. But now you're telling me forward is south. So I will improve. I will now know what to say. Now, two things. One, infrastructure. And two, knowledge. Let me start with the first one. There is every reason why we should have the right knowledge acquisition. We need to fine-tune the whole ecosystem around education. In Kenya, we have had to review the education system and to make it competence-based. There was a time we were teaching and the education was about academics and what you can cram and what you can regurgitate and what you can do. Today, we are changing that to be much more experiential so that we get more skills, we get more competencies, and that is why 60% of our education is now targeted to STEM subjects that will inform what these two great young leaders are talking about. We have had to invest more in education, making sure that they have the right education, they have the right skills, they have the right competencies so that they can participate meaningfully. Number two is infrastructure, digital infrastructure, making sure that we have fiber optic across our countries, making sure that it is accessible, creating spaces where entrepreneurs, creatives, young people can undertake their assignments, their aspirations, and drive what these two good people have been saying. In Kenya, apart from reforming the education system, putting more money in and realigning education so that
it speaks to the requirements of the now. We are also investing in digital infrastructure, fiber optic. They've just said we are manufacturing now here in Kenya a lot of digital assets, whether it is phones, whether it is computers, and all that digital infrastructure. We are laying fiber optic to 30,000 kilometers already in Kenya to make sure that every part of Kenya is in the loop. And then finally, the Ministry of ICT, and I have my minister here, is now working on how to bring the rest of the world into Kenya to experience. And I'm going to ask Kate why she chose Kenya. I would really want to know why, out of all the other countries, there must be something in Kenya that gave her, you know, there must be something. And it must be among the things I'm talking about. So making sure that some of the best companies across the world come to participate with us. Last year, Teleperformance, the largest BPO company in the world, set up office in Kenya. We have many BPO companies set up in Kenya. Why? Because we have young people with the right skills, we have the right infrastructure in terms of internet connectivity, and we have a very enterprising and entrepreneurial population. So in my opinion, this is the space in which we are operating, and I think every other country should be able to think in that direction, because the future is about technology, the future is digital, and AI is going to be at the center of it.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Please, will you favor me with Kate? Will you favor me?
We picked Kenya because of the ecosystem, like you mentioned. The ecosystem is vibrant and it's here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your remarks. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Matthias. We are closing this first panel. Thank you, everyone. And Mariam, I give you the mic to follow this day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and Matthias, Kate as well, and Sophia for a wonderful job moderating. The fact that Kate left in video, which makes more money on a yearly basis than a lot of nations, to come and invest back home says something that if we don't believe it ourselves, no one else will believe it, right? We have to set the precedent. And I think that's amazing. Also, what we're doing with the competency-based curriculum, as the President has said, is preparing ourselves for now and for the future. And I love that we're able to have these discussions in a room where the whole continent is represented. There we go. Speaking of representation, okay, I think we're back. Thank you, President Macron. Speaking of representation for the continent, the fact that we get to tell our own stories is also incredibly important. How we platform ourselves across the world, how we are listened to, how we are viewed, how we are perceived, that's what we're talking about in this next panel. And we will have the moderator being Aisha Toure, who is the CEO of Orange Sierra Leone. Please give Aisha a big round of applause. Let's go. And of course, His Excellency President Macron will be on her panel as well. Let me hand over to you, Aisha.
Merci, Mariam. Leurs Excellences, Monsieur Emmanuel Macron, Président de la République française, Monsieur William Ruto, Président de la République du Kenya, merci de nous offrir ce moment. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je m'appelle Aïcha Touré, directrice générale d'Orange Sierra Leone. Je évolué entre la France, le Royaume-Uni, les États-Unis et maintenant la Sierra Leone. Je sais ce que signifie naviguer entre plusieurs cultures et apprendre à en faire une force. Je suis également fière de faire partie d'un groupe qui connecte aujourd'hui plus de 160 millions d'Africains à des services numériques et financiers essentiels et qui a déjà formé plus d'1,5 million de jeunes Africains à des métiers du numérique gratuitement via les Orange Digital Center. Pendant longtemps, l'Afrique a été racontée par d'autres. Aujourd'hui, des voix africaines s'imposent à travers la culture, l'entrepreneuriat, les médias, la technologie. Le narratif devient... Au fond, l'influence d'un continent ne se mesure pas uniquement à son poids économique ou politique, mais aussi à sa capacité à produire des récits, des imaginaires, des marques, de la culture et de la confiance. On peut parler de la diplomatie culturelle française, M-Pesa pour le Kenya. Alors, comment l'Afrique transforme-t-elle aujourd'hui cette nouvelle visibilité en capacité d'influence? Jean-François et Wilfried ont des réponses concrètes. Je les invite à nous rejoindre. Jean-Wilfried Kemajou travaille depuis plusieurs années au rayonnement du continent africain à l'international. Il est notamment l'un des principaux architectes de la marque Bénin, un monde de...
which has transformed Benin into a place of appeal and influence. Marwa is an entrepreneur, a content creator and TV presenter, and has worked in Algeria and France, and in Africa he's building brands, businesses, and has cultural influence among various different worlds. Jean-Wilfried, let's begin with you. Africa has often been closed into very reductive and incomplete narratives. How can Africa do away with these stereotypes and build a fairer narrative which is more ambitious and more faithful to contemporary realities? Thank you very much. Thank you, Aisha, for the question. First and foremost, please allow me to thank His Excellency the President William Ruto, as well as His Excellency President Macron, to welcome us here today to speak to such an important topic. Before I give my remarks, $4.2 billion. This is an important figure. This figure represents what Africa loses each year due to negative stereotypes which are portrayed by international media. This has been shown. This demonstrates that the image of Africa is no longer just symbolic, but has concrete impacts on our countries, and therefore we must acknowledge this. In Africa, there is no nation branding without nation building. We must clearly, in addition to the appeal that we need to build, we need to also develop important sectors to our economy, whether it's education or health. There is a significant challenge currently. Many African countries do not tell the narrative of this transformation, and what happens is that this narrative is told by others, and when others tell our stories, what happens is that we are subjected to negative stereotypes, and therefore this has a negative impact to our continent's image. Now, let me take the example of France, which since Versailles and Louis XIV has shone throughout the world. It's the same in the US with Hollywood. Even the South Korean wave, which is much more recent, has ensured that we're all fans of Squid Game, for example, on Netflix. So this demonstrates one thing. There is a voluntarist policy. Image is extremely important. There are concrete investments that enable international powers to shine across the globe. In Africa, often we talk about the continent in terms of war, epidemics, diseases, in terms of poverty. And I think that it's about semantics, and we need to flip this. We need to do away with this narrative of fighting against poverty in order to become powers or a power. I sincerely believe that African countries can be cultural powers, technological powers, economic powers, and this narrative has already begun. Africa is not just the continent of the future, but the continent of the present. Therefore, I would also like to share a personal experience. Benin, for a number of years, has been transforming, and in Benin, the country has sought to do away with this negative stereotype. Often we talk about voodoo and witchcraft, etc. Well, this is the result of the years of, or centuries of these negative stereotypes. Voodoo is part of us. However, Patrice Talon made the choice to claim this very valuable heritage. I'd like to give you a concrete example. There is a gathering on voodoo. 3 years ago, we had 97,000 participants. Last year, it was 700,000 over 3 days. This demonstrates one thing. When a country claims its heritage and masters and controls its narrative, it works economically, it works on touristic terms, but it also strengthens African pride. Therefore, I would say that this example enables me to answer your question as it relates to solutions. And here, in the presence of the heads of state, I would like to share a very concrete proposal that I was lucky to share a few years ago, and that is to create the Africa brand. I think the time has come for us to have a brand, an African brand, because our continent must work on its appeal. This brand, in my opinion, needs to be in line with the Agenda 2063, and this brand must also be associated with financial. This will narrative and to add value to our continent internationally. Thank you very much.
Merci, Jean-Wilfried.
Thank you very much, Jean-Wilfried Marois. Millions of young women follow you on social media because they identify with you. You live in between two continents, the two cultures. What can the
Beaucoup Aïcha pour cette question. Avant ça, permettez-moi de remercier l'organisation pour l'invitation, l'Assemblée ici présente et bien évidemment Monsieur le Président William Ruto et Monsieur le Président Emmanuel Macron pour être à l'initiative de ce lien France-Afrique. Sachez que c'est extrêmement intimidant d'être à côté de vous, mais c'est évidemment un honneur. Cet événement a une symbolique très forte pour moi en étant jeune femme algérienne, issue de la diaspora algérienne, et pouvoir aujourd'hui représenter la jeunesse issue de la diaspora nord-africaine, c'est un réel honneur sur ce panel. Pardon, je suis un petit peu stressée. Oh là là. Merci. Pour vous raconter un petit peu mon parcours, je suis née en Algérie, où j'ai grandi jusqu'à l'âge de 5 ans avant d'émigrer en France. J'adore Tahia. Où j'ai immigré en France et pour continuer mon parcours de vie. J'ai honnêtement eu beaucoup de mal avec ma double identité pendant très longtemps. Pour moi, je la considérais un petit peu comme un handicap et pourtant aujourd'hui, je me rends compte que c'est ma plus grande force. Et c'est surtout celle de la diaspora africaine.
For our diaspora to understand two realities: what are international ambitions and what are the possibilities on the African continent. Throughout my education, I went to an engineering school, which was extremely demanding and very tiring. but it was my release. I needed a release, and my release was social media. And on social media, I was able to talk about my... And I was able to speak to those who are like me and who look like me, and to represent them. And this enabled me to pursue incredible opportunities to work with international leaders in retail and cosmetics, and also to become...
J'ai toujours ressenti un vide et une volonté très très forte de devenir une valeur ajoutée pour mon pays natal, l'Algérie. Et c'est pour ça que depuis 3 ans, avec mon mari, nous développons plusieurs business sur plein de secteurs différents, la restauration, l'immobilier et notamment l'industrie, avec l'ouverture de notre usine de produits de cosmétiques Made in Algeria et aussi avec la création de notre marque, la première marque premium de maquillage en Algérie. Et avec ce projet, c'est au-delà de la beauté, avec ce projet, j'avais vraiment l'ambition et la fierté de me dire que le Made in Algeria, le Made in Africa, peut rivaliser avec les concurrents mondiaux, et surtout ne pas avoir peur de trouver sa place sur la scène internationale. Et c'est pour ça que j'ai voulu me dire que aussi à notre échelle, avec mon mari, de participer à l'économie locale, créer, investir, créer des emplois et avoir une vraie valeur ajoutée économiquement parlant et avoir cette ambition d'exporter avec des normes européennes. Et c'est ça finalement notre rôle en tant que groupe issu de la diaspora africaine, c'est de se dire que nous sommes là pour créer des ponts économiques, des ponts culturels, des ponts humains. Et pour répondre à ta question, Aïcha, pour moi, notre génération et les générations futures ont ce rôle primordial de changer le regard qu'on a sur l'Afrique, sur le potentiel africain. Et le message que j'aurais aujourd'hui à donner à la jeunesse africaine, c'est croyez en vos ambitions, croyez en vos rêves, et surtout, dites-vous que votre identité n'est pas un handicap, c'est votre plus grande force. Merci.
Merci. Croire en ses rêves, croire en son identité. Monsieur le Président, Jean-Wilfried et Marois viennent de montrer qu'une nouvelle génération africaine construit ses propres récits, ses propres marques, sa propre influence. Dans cette salle, nous avons des innovateurs, des entrepreneurs, des créateurs. Quel est votre message à cette génération ?
Et les artistes.
Et des artistes.
Non, merci beaucoup. D'abord, merci. Merci, Président, de nous accueillir. Pas simplement à Nairobi, mais dans ton alma mater et dans ton université. Et merci à l'université de nous accueillir et vraiment à ces mots d'accueil très forts et à tous. Moi, j'avais plutôt envie de continuer à écouter parce que je dois dire que ça fait... je deviens un vétéran dans cette mission. Ça fait 9 ans que je me bats pour essayer de changer beaucoup de choses du rapport entre la France et l'Afrique, l'Europe et l'Afrique. Et c'était magnifique de vous écouter tous les 4. Parce que vous avez très bien parlé. Et en vous écoutant, je me disais, au fond, il faut les laisser faire. C'est tout. Mais plus sérieusement, je trouve que la bataille qu'on a, je vais vous dire quelques convictions. La première chose, pourquoi il fallait changer ce continent. Normalement, ce type de sommet aurait commencé par une rencontre entre les dirigeants français et africains, ou européens africains, et les dirigeants européens, français, seraient venus et auraient expliqué aux dirigeants africains, et après peut-être à la société civile, vaguement, on a bien regardé votre situation, voilà ce qui est bon pour vous, on va vous aider. Et je crois que c'est plus du tout ce dont l'Afrique a besoin et ce qu'elle veut entendre. Le président l'a très bien dit hier, il dit « Nous, on ne veut plus ça. On n'a pas besoin que vous nous aidiez. » Et ça tombe bien parce que nous, on n'a plus totalement les moyens non plus, si on est lucide. Et en plus, ça crée plein de tensions. On a toujours des polémiques à la maison. Les gens disent vous les aider, puis après, on a déjà tellement de problèmes, etc. Non! L'Afrique, elle est en train de réussir. C'est le continent le plus jeune au monde. C'est le continent qui a le plus de croissance au monde. Donc juste, l'Afrique, elle a besoin d'investissements pour être plus souveraine, Kate l'a très bien dit. Et nous, on a envie d'être des partenaires d'égal à égal, parce qu'en fait, on a exactement le même combat à mener en Europe. Et en vrai, c'est exactement ça qui se joue. Et on commence ce sommet Africa Forward en vous écoutant, vous la jeunesse du continent africain, nous dire voilà mes rêves, mes ambitions, ce que je suis déjà en train de faire. Et nous, on vient en disant bah ok, nous on a des investissements à faire, c'est intelligent pour vous, c'est bon pour nous, on le fait ensemble. Et nos défis sont jumeaux. Et nos défis sont exactement ceux que vous avez décrits, qu'il s'agisse de technologie, d'IA, de paiement, ou qu'il s'agisse, comme on dit aujourd'hui, d'industrie culturelle et créative, ou de récits, vous l'avez très bien dit, Aïcha, tout à l'heure. Et donc, au fond, quel est notre défi commun, Europe et Afrique? C'est de ne pas dépendre. This is this opposition between, consumer and builders. And this is exactly the same. Because a lot of solutions are made in the US or made in China. And when you speak about artificial intelligence, okay, a lot of us today are consumers. So I think we have a common fight, a common battle together of investment, which is to build our strategic autonomy for Europe and Africa. And if we build it together, we will be much stronger. So we need infrastructure. And this challenge of building infrastructure is exactly the same in Europe. Computing capacities. Okay, if we want to make infrastructure, let's invest. In order to do so, and this is a challenge, by the way, that President Ruto is facing here and fixing, this is the energy challenge. No chance to build any AI infrastructure and computing capacities without energy. So we have to build much more energy facilities, renewables, nuclear, in order to deploy electrification of our common use in Europe, electrification for households and companies in Africa, but in order to build additional capacities and computing capacities, first challenge, and to build foundational models and companies on that. Everything, when we speak about infrastructure, is about sovereignty. And this partnership between Amini, Bull, and Foxconn, for me, is a perfect example of this sovereignty, this common sovereignty story. African, European, and Taiwanese company. All of us have to face this challenge of sovereignty and reducing our dependencies. So it's super smart. So let's rush on infrastructure, and it's true for AI, it's true for payment system, and I want to commend you for what you do with this Pan-African settlement system. I think it's super smart, and you're right to say that you are leading in terms of mobile payment, and we are very proud for Orange and some companies to be part of this game. The second key challenge we have to face together is about talents. In Europe, and especially in France, we do educate and train a lot of talents. Our key challenge is to provide jobs for them and to make sure that they stay and don't move. I have to say I was despaired a few years ago when I saw that so many talents of AI in Silicon Valley were in fact educated in France, data scientists or mathematicians. Now they are starting to come back because we have great leaders and we are building clearly the leadership in Europe of AI and quantum capacities. And it is exactly the same challenge in Africa. And you were right. You have to train more, and I'm super proud of what we are doing here with the investment of the French Agency for Development and the university to build on STEM and AI, new capacities, new partnerships with our best universities. And this is exactly what we want to do through the continent. How to educate and train more and more talents to make sure that they will be trained here in the best education system, with the best partnership, and they will stay and help the country to develop and help the continent to develop. And this is why We will expand these partnerships between our universities and the African universities. We will accelerate this trend of investment. And this is why I want to thank our companies to clearly accompany this work. On Orange, during this summit, will announce, thank you, Christelle, this 50 digital centers. I think this is extremely powerful, with 1 million young African people being trained through this Orange Digital Center by 2030. And a few years ago, we built Digital Africa, whose objective is to connect digital ecosystems. And this is part of this training capacities for your talents, but as well how to make sure that the ecosystem will enlarge and talents will stay. Et le dernier défi pour être pleinement souverain, c'est exactement ce que vous avez dit et ce que vous avez parfaitement décrit l'un et l'autre, c'est-à-dire le narratif. Et on le sait très bien, c'est le vainqueur qui écrit l'histoire. Et tout le travail qu'on est en train de faire, d'ailleurs, on y reviendra dans la journée avec les sessions culturelles et sur les restitutions.
But there's also a contemporary narrative to write, and this can...
En tout cas, s'il n'est pas... Et c'est aussi une question de souveraineté, parce que ce regard, c'est celui qu'on laisse aux générations à venir, c'est celui...
This will give you a greater ability to forge ahead. If you have the right narrative, then you will appeal to people who wish to take part. It's about self-power. So it's just as important as infrastructure and talent. You have to have the right narrative, and this narrative enables us to ensure that culture, technology, and the economy are taken as one. However, it's important for this narrative to be written by Africans, and if this is done, then it will have. And that's why I'm extremely impressed by the example of Benin.
Remarquable, qui est passé par la culture et par l'économie, mais je suis moi très impressionné par ce que le continent est en train de faire. Et au fond, il y a un panafricanisme positif. J'ai adoré ce que vous avez dit sur la marque, mais on a souvent mis le panafricanisme autour de discours qui étaient très négatifs, revendicatifs, un peu revanchards, un peu anti-ceci ou cela. Il y a un panafricanisme qui est celui de votre génération, qui est positif, qui veut juste conquérir tout, bâtir son continent, soulever ses défis, attirer les investissements du monde entier et dire « Moi, je suis là, j'ai envie de bâtir, j'ai pas envie qu'on m'impose des solutions qui viennent d'ailleurs. Je veux développer mon pays, mon continent et choisir. » Et nous, notre rôle, et je finirai là-dessus, c'est pas de faire de l'aide, c'est juste de dire « Waouh, nous, ça nous plaît, on veut faire ça aussi. » Parce que nous aussi, vous l'avez dit, la France, elle a toujours été comme ça. C'est une nation qui s'est toujours vue comme plus grande qu'elle-même, parfois en faisant des choses qu'on ne ferait plus aujourd'hui, je l'ai dit et répété, mais parce qu'on rêve plus grand, parce qu'on a construit cette histoire pour nous-mêmes. Et moi, c'est ce qui fait qu'il y a deux raisons qui font qu'on a envie d'être avec vous aujourd'hui et que ce sommet est très important pour nous. La première, on veut...
Our companies and the government of France to invest by your side because you know it will work, and that the African story is a big story, is a great story, and that when you look at Europe and Africa there is an evidence, and that this fight for sovereignty, technological sovereignty, IT sovereignty, quantum sovereignty is common. If you fail, we do not have any chance. If you fail, your youth will leave Africa and will no longer solve migration. We need you to succeed because it's good for France and Europe. There's a positive story to build. It is incredible for the 21st century that you'll build your story. We will do it also on our end, and we'll do it hand in hand. Secondly, we have a common destiny. We have a common destiny. you said something that probably you have a story that wasn't so good. There are millions of young people in France who are from the diaspora as yourself. And for many years we told them, sorry that you are from the diaspora or you come from this particular country and you'd like to be forgotten. No, you are 100% French and 100% from Algeria. You have your dual nationality and we need you because that is a boost for us in France to have young people like you, Marwa, who are Franco-Algerian, Franco-Central African, and who would like to develop the world and conquer further frontiers and who work with us. This is really important for us, so be proud of being member of a diaspora, of being French and of being African. And that's why I'm here, because in my country, and I've told it to my Kenyan counterparts who do not know it much, there are millions of young people who are totally French and totally African. And it's a great honor and luck for their countries. I will stop here, therefore, Madam Moderator, but
builders of this common future. And I'm extremely happy to see how proud and solution-driven you are when you speak about your own future. And this is why I'm here. I am leader of a country who wants to be part of that, who wants to invest here, who is very proud of our own past and future. But this partnership, this balanced, generous, lucid, and equal partnership is precisely how we will frame and build our common future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our moderator, Aisha. Thank you, President Macron, and Marwa, and Jean-Wilfred. Please give them a round of applause. And I love the emphasis, President Macron, on the fact that you can be both, that it doesn't have to be one or the other, and this emphasis on sovereignty as well. I'll also say that something that Jean-Wilfred said about the brand Africa is definitely conversations that I've been hearing happen, and I can't wait to see a time when Muranga tea from Kenya has the same brand recognition that champagne from France has, right? That fish from Lake Victoria has the same brand recognition that salmon from Norway has, right? And we're getting there. We will get there if we continue to have these conversations, but also get something tangible out of them. I know the fear of summits sometimes is that it's talk and talk and talk and there's nothing concrete, but there will be concrete action points from this Africa Forward Summit, and I think that's an amazing thing. We're just about to get into a presentation on a white paper about Africa and innovation in democracy. But before we go there, I think music is something that brings people together, and if there is a song that I feel brings France and Kenya together, and the continent as a whole, is Premier Gawo. Anyone heard it? Mr. DJ, I think we just need a little taste of Premier Gawo. You can move on your seat if you feel a little bit. Yeah. Hey. Come. All right. Thank you, Mr. D. Okay. Oh, we're ready to dance. Okay. Let's go. Hey. Thank you, Mr. DJ. Thank you. I just wanted you to get up a bit. I think I'm correct that Premier Gawo brings Africa and France together. Does it not? It really does. We are talking next about innovation in democracy. And Professor Achille Mbembe is a historian. He's a political scientist. He is someone who has done a lot of work researching what democracy for Africa looks like. Sometimes we make copy-paste systems without thinking, how do I make this work for me? So he's presenting a white paper on what innovation in African democracy looks like. Please help me give a warm round of applause and a welcome to Professor Achille Bembe.
Some formal remarks, but my dear friend Emmanuel's speech, in an African country. So, I knew, I have seen him in action a few times, and I'm very happy that I was able to witness the same energy, the same intelligence, and the same commitment to our continent and to the idea of a common world. He ended with that. I was also delighted to listen to President Ruto and to hear about the efforts he has been engaged in making of Kenya a place where no African feel like a stranger. All that we heard from President Ruto and Emmanuel, we heard it yesterday. The same joy, the same passion, the same energy was expressed yesterday during a pavilion. The Innovation Foundation for Democracy, the Paris Peace Forum, and the International Commission for Jurists, Kenyan section, we held at another university, Strathmore University, not far from here indeed. And what we are bringing to you this time is in the form of a book. I won't be summarizing the book here. The book contains no less than 60 proposals, which are not proposals for governments, which are not proposals for business, which are proposals for all, beginning with civil society organizations themselves, in the full knowledge that these days governments, business, and civil society and communities have to work together. There's no other way. And that we have to basically invest, as we heard this morning, in our communities and societies' resources, in their strengths, being inclusive, if we are to address the challenges ahead of us. I'll end these very quick comments with one word which came to me as I was listening to the conversation we have had this morning. When it comes to telling the world what Africa is all about. I will say it in French because I really haven't found a proper translation in English. I hope that the translators will do their job. L'Afrique est une réserve de puissance et une puissance en réserve. I believe that that's what I heard this morning, and I would like to leave it at that. So this is the book. Voilà. It's a lot of reading for the two presidents, but since they read so well, I'm sure that they go through it. Thank you very much, and excellent. Let's see. Maybe let's see.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you so much, Professor Ashiru. Thank you. Please give him a round of applause. President Ruto and President Macron, a warm round of applause for co-hosting this summit. This is just the beginning. This is day one. I cannot wait to see what the next 2 days bring. Now we'll take a quick photo session, but I'll hand over to Mike to run us through the photo session. There'll also be a video playing just to give you a historic look at the relationship between France and Kenya. It's going from Ouagadougou to Nairobi. We'll play that in just a minute, but let me hand over to Mike. We'll have a quick session with the panelists, a photo session, just so we can get everyone in the picture, and then we'll hand over to the video from Ouagadougou to Nairobi. Mike?
All right, thank you. A clap for Mariam, please, for moderating us very well. Thank you. Your Excellencies, I'll just request that we step forward. I'll request that the panelists may also join the presidents for the photo session. Just initially the first panelist, please. Just the ones who spoke. Yes. The two sets that spoke. Mariam, you can also join in the photo, please. Try not to dance so that we can get the picture. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, that brings us to the end of this session. And we'll then request that we all be upstanding as we then allow the two heads of state to exit and go to the cultural experience. Feel free to give them a warm, warm clap, even for their time and for joining us this morning. Thank you, Your Excellencies.
Hallelujah po na
Again, did you enjoy this one? Okay, okay.
I'm good.
Hakuna matata, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni wakaribishwa, Kenya yetu hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata.
My name is Professor Jasang Hutchinson, the acting Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi.
Have a glimpse of what we did since 2019 and then 2023. So we are starting with the two artists that you know. Tabiso Vili from South Africa and Inka Kenzia. It's not working.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, no, thank you for the invite. So can you explain us your work and what is the relationship between us, like Monza, the government, and what we are trying to do for the future, in few words?
Yeah, so our project is going to be Kwasuka Sukela, which is a Zulu word for once upon a time or in the beginning. So we collaborated together in 2023 to research with different poets the different origin stories across Africa. And then we took those origin stories and then we transformed them into poetry that explores a new African origin story in relation to science and the Big Bang and spirituality. community as well. We did that with 4 poets, with immersive language. We've had a long partnership as well since 2019, with Says in Africa, with Tosi. So we've been working on a lot of immersive work and are excited to keep working together in this African and French collaboration.
So you're going to see the work inside of the box, but Inka is the designer. Can you please explain us how did you work?
Yes, thank you so much. So thank you for seeing that. We collaborated with AI on this as well, but also really focused on bringing as many fine artists and artists into the work. So all the elements that you see in there that are animated also are coming from humans that are doing beautiful work across the years. It's also been great because this work has been adapted to Dome and VR, so it's been able to be seen in these various formats, and the work translates fantastically into that. Musicians as well, traditional musicians, really, really beautiful work within that. So we're really excited to share this with you. We're also excited that there are opportunities like these for everyone, for artists to be collaborating together, that is artists within Southern Africa and also just across the continent. It's been an absolute delight, so thank you kindly.
And normally it is used to be broadcasted in a planetarium, and I was talking to some people of your staff, and they were telling us that you have a planetarium, so it would be a real honor to bring those work of art into it. So second one is a Mensa production from the beginning to the end. So Michael is the architect of everything. So we've been working with him since 2019. He's a producer of immersive art, and he's going to explain you Conchicha, which is a collaboration between Benin, Brazil, and France. And so we did a tour we went to Brazil, we went to Benin, and we are really delighted to be able to showcase this in Kenya today.
Thank you, Liz. It's a long story. Conchicha, yes, it's a long story, but I make short. It's like the cooperation with Mensa. The beginning is to 23. Conchicha is the link in fond, the link between the people. Yes, it's fond language. Is all our project that you see is a cooperation between, on va dire, storyteller, innovating content like immersive box, not only film, and also we make collaboration with all the Afro-descendants, and we all between French, European, and each time with cooperation. This one is one of the example. Conchicha is a link. It's a cooperation between 3 countries. And the author came from Brazil and from Benin to, what is the story? Conchicha is the story of slave, and Conchicha is also a story of cultural, how we adapt, how a culture make this adaptation in a new country, how Vodou Temple, because we make a lot of film, go to to a new world in Brazil and become candomblé. And also, 2 things is very important. The first is the format, because we buy with Mensa a specific dome to have immersive content. And the young people, the young people come from Ukraine. Yes, it's another storytelling. We show to the young people, to all the people in Benin, in Brazil, this 4,000 kids in all the school is see our story in an immersive content with a new impact. It's like a magic bubble, like you can see. So the impact is not the same, and we always think and it continues. The circulation is also very important of different countries. You go in South Africa, you go in Benin, and after in Senegal, in Mozambique, and we work hard for that. And the last thing, we make adaptation in different language, because it's not only French, English, it's also Fon, maybe Yoruba, and we make adaptation for all the language for all the people.
Using AI.
Not for that, but for Kasukesa we use AI, but for that the language we use translator. Yes, to have impact. Voilà. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, yes, and then we are trying to make also books for kids, because it's really a story for kids to know about their history, about the ancestrality of their culture. Exactly. And now we are going to talk to Brian Afonde, who's a Kenyan producer and designer, and I can't see Brian. Yes, you're here. So, President Macron, you already know Brian. He was there in 2023. Come. Okay.
How are you? I remember you from Paris. Yeah, it's good to see you. Welcome to my country. Thank you, man. Thank you. It's good to see you. Thank you, sir. So, eyesight. Okay. Yes, so let me just explain something. This is the first time in this country that we created what you call a 4-world video projection experience. The first time we were able to showcase it was in Guételleric in Paris, and this is the first time in this soil we were able to do it. It was a co-production between, of course, Kenya and Paris and France, and we had about 15 Kenyans who worked on the production itself. I was the lead producer, and the executive producer, of course, was Michael. What you're going, and Mercy is one of my colleagues who I work with, and I really want you to hear from her because she's very young and talented as a sound designer. Probably you can introduce yourself real quick and just say what you do on the project.
Hello. So, yeah, my name is Mercy. In terms of the Mugumo project, I was sorry? Kenya, yeah. Yes. So, in the Mugumo project, I was the sound designer and music producer. I did have like 3-4 other people that I worked with for specifically this, the sound aspect of Mugumo, to be able to bring together the visual side of things to tell a beautiful story. Yes.
Mugumo is a Kenyan tree.
Yes, exactly, Your Excellency. It's a Kenyan tree, and this Kenyan tree, they believe that if you go around it 7 times, you can change gender. So I would really want I really want you to go inside and enjoy the experience. It's a myth, it's a mythology. So welcome, gentlemen.
So for the best experience, it's better if we are not too many, because otherwise you won't see the walls, because it's a 4-wall installation. So right here. So the less we are, the better the experience is. Yes. Thank you. Ça va? Karine, c'est go? Quand on ferme? Eh ben, on ferme alors. Can we be in the middle? It's going to be long. So we're starting with the Mugumo tree.
Before time had a name, before earth had memory, there was only silence, then a whisper of light. One became many, many became form, and form became life. From the heavens, a gift descended, not as thunder, but as a breath, a blessing. It touched the earth, and the earth remembered. From soil and spirit, humanity was shaped. Gikuyu, guided by light. Mumbi, the mother of becoming. Beneath the Mugumo tree, heaven and earth spoke as one. Seasons turned, hands built, life expanded. But even in abundance, the heart longs. So Gikuyu came to the sacred tree, not with words, but with sacrifice. And through fire and surrender, his prayer rose. And the heavens answered. Where there was absence, came presence. Where there was longing, came joy, life restored. Time moved forward, children of the soil, learning, becoming, finding their place between past and future. For every path is discovered through living. The sacred does not shout, it waits. The Mugumo stood, not as a tree, but as a bridge. And in its presence, transformation was awakened. The child returned, no longer the same. The land bore witness, the family understood, and the Mugumo remained silent, eternal, keeper of secrets, guardian of becoming.
There's a second one. Karim, this is from Chicha. It's in Beijing with the Ministry of Culture. So you are in the Palace of Abomey. Last one from South Africa.
The planets are a woven tapestry, shifting life source into existence behind our eyes. Pupils and masks we wear to hide the identity of almost gods.
A pair of claws rake the dark, fertile soil this fabric of black.
An ode to Menefati, whose maker crawls upon her face, naive, dispersed in surrender to creation, the innumerable one.
With the wind as the wood, and the soul as the flesh, we are bone dressed in breath, we are home swept of ash, we are life licked by death.
Clothed in light and dripping smoke, we pray our mouths shut, we fever dream our bodies into the curve of a sinking god.
And on the final day, the artist adds paint, some places a spill, others leaning for spray.
We are the holy type, weaving spells once cast by those long past to keep this world breathing. These tales keep grandfather sun and grandmother moon in place.
this was pre-tracked, but you need to imagine it's a planetarium of 200 people watching this. 4,000 kids. It's phenomenal for history because immersive is the best way to tell stories that are not tangible, you know, mythologies and all that kind of stories. So for us, it's a real tool to go a little bit more far than what we can do in films or on books. So yes, this is a tool, and the sensei is really supporting us for this. They really supported us, so it was a real pleasure to do it. And we are now learning to work between different continents, thinking of circulation, distribution, co-production. It's really important for us to be able to do something that is not only rooted in Paris, but that is just like, that has an international dimension. So thank you. Thank you for attending.
Mr. President, we would like to keep this. So once you leave here at 5 o'clock, we want to keep this exhibition so know that everything will be
Yes, how long do you want to keep it?
For the foreseeable future, and also student schedule. So also the students can engage.
Okay, so we need to just check with the technique because we have the...
I consider it as this.
Okay, so you leave for some by that?
Nakuja peke yake.
The architectural design of the engineering and science complex that is supported generously by the government of France and also the government of Kenya. So Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander of the Defense Forces, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, President Emmanuel Macron, the President of the Republic of France, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the university to present to you the architectural model of the engineering and science complex that is being designed to be constructed in the beautiful Chiromo campus, which is just a few meters from here, and where Your Excellency, the President of Kenya, did his PhD. And therefore, this complex has taken in the cutting-edge technologies from France, but also the unique cultures and lifestyles of Kenyans in the warm tropics of Kenya. And therefore, what we have done is to see this, we've developed with the French universities over a one-year period on how we can construct this engineering and science complex over a 7-acre plot, but the building itself is about 30,000 square meters. And what is very unique is that we will have a set of laboratories We will also have classrooms. But what is very unique is that we'll also have an administrative block as we enter the complex. And what we have done is also to have open spaces, because this is very bold and very transformative. Because in the past, engineers, scientists were actually in silos, but this complex that has been designed will close that gap so that together industry will meet academia, students will meet researchers, industry will innovate together with the students, communities will be around here so that we actually transform the landscape of education like never before. And therefore, what we have also done is to not to disrupt an ecosystem that is already there, but to take advantage of it. So we have preserved all the indigenous trees. And Your Excellency, Dr. Ruto, has taken a very bold step to preserve the Nairobi River, which is part of the ecosystem. Yeah, right there. Right there. Excellent.
How many students will you have?
So the complex, we are hoping to see a total of 7,000 students go through this, where they come in and they will be interacting around 8, what we are calling communities of excellence. Other people will call it centers of excellence, but we think those centers of excellence are the ones that are going to transform the way learning is done like never before. So the 7,000 students, we have 250 members of staff, researchers, private sector partners, and we even have a very interesting building that is the wellness center, but also where mothers can breastfeed their babies. Oh. And then we will have a boulevard to go through the entire campus, because we are going to keep the roads away from the campus, so that there is a boulevard that gets across all the campus. But more transformative is this center here. Some have called it the democratic space. Some have called it the innovation space. And that is where even students from primary school, from secondary school will come to interact with scientists, with researchers. And also, yeah, that space is going to be very interesting, where ideas, no matter how small, will be inculcated into the research agenda, into the academic agenda. Innovators will be here, even funders. A meeting place where all ideas will be cultivated, because we see this as being very transformative, that the country will never be the same again, because as graduates come out of this, they will have a different mindset of entrepreneurship, commercialization, they will have interacted, so there will be nothing about going to look for a job. They will be the job creators for our countries going forward. And therefore, we want to take this opportunity as the University of Nairobi to appreciate the government of Kenya and the government of France for allowing the University of Nairobi, being the best in Eastern and Central Africa, to take the next step to be globally competitive, but also transforming and transforming societies. Because we think academia sometimes can be a silo place, but this is a place where all of us around the 8 centers of excellence, clean energy, and among others, all of them will be there. Yes, all of them, chemistry, food and nutrition, security, all those elements. But what is very interesting is that this campus is a smart campus, but also clean energy. And therefore, we have a lot of solar panels. We are taking advantage of the the natural ventilation. And therefore, this, reduce on energy. Everything, yes. So this is a transformative, not just in the construction, but what will happen inside there is what is more transformative in our view. And so we want to thank you very much for supporting this initiative. We think that the country and the continent will benefit, because the engineering and science complex was designed, implemented by the University of Nairobi in collaboration with our partners in Paris, but also touching communities, no matter how small. Allow me, Your Excellencies, to point to a small movie that will actually give you the inside of how it will look like going forward. I want to thank you, Your Excellencies, for your kind attention.
Thank you. Very good. Today, how many students do you have?
Today, we have about 50,000 students. And so the 7,000 will be the ones Yeah.
This program is going to support our STEM transformation.
Yes.
Of 7,000.
Of 7,000.
Yes.
We're pushing, because of our development requirements, we're pushing up to 60% of students pathway from primary to STEM subjects. Science, physical engineering, mathematics.
Okay, we see your
Yes.
environment.
Yeah, so this STEM will really support our trajectory for Vision 2030 to be newly industrialized as a country. And Your Excellency has challenged us to think beyond even Singapore, think beyond France, to be the next place in Africa.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chancellor. We really appreciate it.
Asante sana. Asante sana.
We are very proud to be partner of this project with AFD and
Thank you.
And the ministry.
Excellent.
Very important for us to be
Yes.
part of this ambition for it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Remember, she said
yesterday.
Nairobi University is the best university in East and Central Africa. I didn't say it. I'll say it.
And he's our proud alumni, Dr. Ruto.
Yeah.
We are so happy.
You get your PhD
Yeah.
In science.
In the same campus.
The next building is there.
Yeah.
That's where I began actually from undergraduate.
Mm.
Yeah, all the way.
Mm.
But
Asante sana.
this is transformative.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you. Thank you, Madam.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Very good.